the first thing I need to talk about, which is completely fundamental in the whole thing, has to do with the writings on our walls. See, we live in a palace of possibilities, and we all know that. It's nice words that we say. I live in a palace. I can do anything, you know. It says so in these books that I read and so on. The world is my oyster, and I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, you know. And those are great words. They're wonderful words, okay? What was that noise? Oh. Oh, your computer. Okay. Anyway, but we get stopped with what I call some subtle stoppers. And if you will, for a moment, here, let me take this chair over here for a second. I am now sitting in my room in my palace of possibilities. Now, notice I said it's my room. It could be my 2 or 3 rooms, but this is my little place of the palace of possibilities. And this is where I live. This is my comfort zone. This is where I, quote, belong. And, of course, you belong in your own rooms in it. Okay? Now, there's other rooms in this palace of possibilities. There are rooms there that are much more expansive. There are rooms for financial wealth, for example, for greater relationships, for fame and for power and for all the other things that maybe we want a piece of. But those are for other people that are better looking maybe, or smarter than me, or better connected than me, or more adventuresome than me. And so then they could be in those rooms. I belong, it's okay, I could be there, but I'm comfortable here. And what happens is when we happen to get out of our comfort zone and into those other rooms, we get kind of uncomfortable, and we kind of want to come back to where we, quote, belong, unquote. And what happens, and I'm sitting here in my little room, and I have walls around me, which are sort of subtle prisons, you know, and they have writings on the walls. And these writings are the truth, as I know it. I have a writing up there that says, I have a writing up there that says, when you come to a stop sign, you better stop. Okay? I think most of you have a writing like that, okay? And it's a shortcut it's a very important phrase, by the way, the term shortcut. I'm going to lean into that a little bit more in a subsequent session, the shortcuts we use to make decisions. But it's a shortcut. I don't have to think about it. That I see a red light. Well, it's a red light. What do I do here? And then you think about it and weigh things, etc. So you just automatically react. Okay. The same thing happens if a Bengal tiger walks in the room. You're out of here. You don't sit there and weigh and think about what you might do and, gee, could I get hurt, etc. You're out of here. It's an automatic thing. You have it written on your walls. Bengal tigers could hurt me, and I'm out of here. Okay. We may also have writing on our walls that says something like, in order to be rich, I have to step on people. In order to be rich and make a lot of money, I'll be taking money away from poor people. Now, logically, you may disagree with that. But emotionally, you'll respond to it because somehow or other, that writing got written on your walls by your parents, your teachers, your television sets, your novels that you read, your religious leaders, and so on and so forth, wrote these things on your walls and on my walls. And they are very powerful, and they are very subtle stoppers because they are automatic decision makers, or just like the red light where we automatically stop, okay? And so when we have an opportunity to do something more financially, these little subtle stoppers show up, the writing on our walls, we read the writing on our walls, and that's the truth as far as we know it, and so we don't go any farther. If I earned a lot of money, my older brother wouldn't love me anymore. If I earned a lot of money, my father would criticize me. Not logical. Not logical, very important to recognize, not logical, but emotionally it's written there. And that's more important for how you behave and how we behave than anything else. Now, I have the same things written on my walls as you do. I don't want to say it that way. I have similar things written on my walls regarding negativity about earning money that everybody else does. I've done a lot of work on them in the past, and I've managed to make them little bitty writings on the walls down here in the corner someplace. Okay, and I have replaced it with bigger writings up there that are more useful, if you will, as far as getting forward in the world financially. But we have to do something about those things that are written on our walls. Now, I'd like to have you do something for me. Let me get this out here a second. before I do that, I want to mention, when I mentioned the term comfort zone to you a minute ago. I want to elaborate on that a little bit, because I'm going to use it probably more before this day is over. Jim Newman is a friend of mine who did the PACE programs, which some of you may be aware of, many years ago, and he wrote a book called Release Your Brakes, and he developed this idea, coined the idea of a comfort zone. This room, for example, has a comfort zone for temperature. There's a thermostat someplace in here, and it's set for a certain temperature, like 70 degrees as an example. And what that means is the temperature will go from 67 to 73. It's a range. It's a comfort zone. And if the temperature drops below 67, for example, down to 66 or 65, we're out of our comfort zone. The heater comes back on and heats the room back up until you're back within that range. And then the heat goes up until it gets 73, and then beyond that to 74, 75. It's too warm in here. Better go back into our comfort zone. And so that's a temperature comfort zone. We have comfort zones for everything we do. It's the same metaphor as the writing on our walls, but I just want to use it because you can use these terms interchangeably, and some people like the comfort zone idea. They're more comfortable with that than they are with the writing on the wall. So I just want to mention that to you. Now, I'd like to have you do something. You will see down here on my handout under Mental Set B, it says ways to collapse the limiting writings on our walls. I want you to cross off the word limiting writings, and I want you to replace it with comedies. Comedies. Comedies is in ha-ha funny. All right? And what I'm going to ask you to do in a minute is to write something down, but I'd like to give you a kind of an overview about how to do that, a mental set about how to do that. Often, what I'm going to have you do here is I'm going to have you finish this sentence. I'm not earning $1 million a year. Excuse me, I earn easily and consistently $1 million per year. I'm going to have you say that affirmation, and then I want you to look at what your tail enders are. Yes, but it will come up, all right? But when you write that down, what I want you to recognize is what you're writing down is not something that is to be criticized. Because it's very easy to say, I have this, I don't want anybody to know this thing. It's not. It is planted there not by you. It's planted there by society. It's planted there by all the things you've seen and done. It is a comedy. And the things that stop us from doing not only money, but everything else in our life, that keeps us from going outside of our comfort zones, outside of the walls of our rooms, in our palace of possibilities, are comedies. They are jokes. They are really funny. They are very funny if you'll take them apart. So you need to address this with a sense of humor, because we're going to look at them some, and we're going to have a few laughs about it, I would hope, okay? Now, what I'd like to have you do is, this is like an affirmation, and I said this once, but I'm going to say it again. You're going to say this affirmation, which goes like this: I earn easily and consistently $1 million per year. I'll have you say it out loud in a minute. But what I want you to recognize is when you say that, just listen to what the tail enders are, the yes buts. Okay, whatever they are, it doesn't, and don't try to evaluate them because you want the best one to talk about, or whatever shows up is what counts. That's the only answer. There's no such thing as a right answer here. There's a wrong answer, and the wrong answer is to try to get some kind of an answer that you think everybody else will like. That's not helpful at all. It's not helpful to you or anybody. It's to put down the answer that shows up, whatever it is, and wherever it came from. So with me, I earn easily and consistently $1 million per year. We'll say it again. I earn easily and consistently $1 million per year. Okay, just take a look at where the yes buts were and write them down. If none came up, make one up. That's good enough. Okay, who managed to write something down? Okay. Steve, would you mind getting behind the microphone there for me and let us know what it was?
But I don't want to work that hard.
I don't want to work that hard.
Right.
Okay, now let me ask you a question if I can. There's a presumption that's built into that. And that is, in order to make that much money, I've got to do what? I've got to work more hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Work more hours.
Okay, and there's a presumption behind that, I think. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you just need to tell me what's happening, okay? And that is, I charge so much an hour, and therefore, if I'm going to earn $1 million, I've got to work a whole lot more hours.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what would happen if you instead of doing that, just charged by the result?
I basically I would have to strategize how to do that.
Yes, yes. You would have to come out of your current comfort zone, because what happens is, and by the way, what you just echoed, and thank you, is echoed in almost everybody here that's a therapist, because they have been taught the way to do it is to charge so much an hour. You charge so much an hour, people come in, etc. And they're also taught, by the way, that I'm charging this much an hour, and what everybody else charges between here, and I'm sort of in the middle, or I'm in the high end, or whatever, but I really shouldn't go beyond this, because other therapists will criticize me. Does that seem, can I see some nodded heads? Okay. I won't be accepted among my group, etc. Okay. You have to use the microphone. So anyway, okay. There are, and thank you for that, Steve. There are a variety of things. Yeah, there are a variety of things that limit us, and one of those, a standard one, is I've got to earn so much an hour. Now, how many of you charge so much an hour? Okay. Finish this sentence for me and write it down. I charge so much an hour because, whatever comes up. I charge so much an hour because. I love your laugh. Come up here, Marcia. Do we have a comedy?
We have a comedy.
Okay. I charge so much
So
an
much
hour
an hour because I can get away with it.
because I can get away with it. Well, what does that mean?
It means that I'm conning somebody, and if people only knew.
Oh, interesting. Now see, see, that's the kind of comment we could all criticize one another for, because you're conning somebody. But that's what showed up, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And what's behind conning somebody? If they only knew what?
How stupid I am.
How stupid I am. Okay. Thank you for sharing, dear. No, come back here. Come back. Do you see how this can get into other issues, et cetera, et cetera? Now, what I'm not going to do here is start doing some tapping on how your parents and your teachers and your whatever, gave you the idea that you weren't that bright. Okay? But that's by the way, how many people, maybe we will, how many people have someplace on the writings on your walls that I'm not as bright as I could be? Can I see your hand? Oh, look at that. Okay, thank you, dear. Have a seat. That's interesting. Tap with me. Okay. I want to do, by the way, what I'm going to try to do is do some group things, and I won't be addressing necessarily every single person's individual issue here, but it's going to be more general, the kind of things that many of us deal with. And as we do these things, you will probably, your subconscious will probably pick up your specific version of it. But whether or not these things tend to land with you or not, and even if you're not a therapist, or even if you don't think even if you think you're very bright, go tap anyway. Because there's always another level for you, okay? Okay, even though I don't think I'm very bright. Or even though I think there's more potential for me to use in my brightness. And even though I think part of that's a lie, I deeply, completely accept myself. One of the things I've never recognized is that I am sitting here in this audience, and I am listening to some words, and my mind is, go ahead, acting faster than any computer on the planet, picking up, tap up here for a while, picking up every phrase that I hear, comparing it to millions of other sounds, like the ocean, traffic, and Lord knows what else. And I pick out those sounds, and I put them together in sentences and phrases, and I make perfect sense out of them. And I'm doing it right now, and I don't think I'm very smart. Do you have any idea the intelligence it takes to do what we just talked about? It's incredible, okay? Not here. Oh, wait a minute. I got to tune in here one second. Well, nothing's coming to me, but what I often do is I just make it up as I go along, you know. And do this. By the way, when you're in therapy sessions, if nothing's coming to you, just start making this stuff up, and you'd be surprised what shows up. Your intuition starts coming up to the top, you know. Okay. Even though I question how smart I may be, what I'm really doing is comparing myself and some other people who maybe have degrees I don't have, who maybe have better schooling that I don't have, who may seem to be more articulate than me, and I'm comparing myself to them. And what I'm completely ignoring is the Gary Craig reason for differences in intelligence, which should transform the world. All educational systems should be watching these tapes. Because the real problem here, I got to get the right words here. The real problem here is what I call emotional static. If two people of very high IQs or other measures sat down to take a test of some kind on a subject they both knew cold, but one of them had a bee in their nose. It was going bzz, 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 like that. And the person with the bee in their nose knew that bee could sting them at any moment. I wonder which of those two people would have the best score. Like, I don't really wonder, I know. Even though both of them are very intelligent, at least by some tests, and know the subject cold. Now, one of the things that schools don't teach us, or maybe don't even recognize, that many students have a bee in their nose when they start to take tests. It's called emotional static. And if you're trying to take a test and you have a bunch of I can'ts or other things that come from home, when I take a test and I have a bunch of I can'ts and other things that amount to emotional static, when I have test anxiety and other phobic responses, to whatever degree they may be, that is an untested feature in intelligence tests. Nobody knows how much emotional static we have. Maybe not even me, because I'm so used to it at this point. And so my whole thought about being not so intelligent can be reduced to having emotional static, a bee in my nose. And if I can just locate the emotional static, I have tappable issues, and I can once again join the intelligent, where I was before I was told I wasn't. Did that help? Who has a response to, I mean, as we were doing that, some people may have had a response to that. Anybody? Yeah, stand up back there, could you, for me? Yeah, go ahead, just back there, and just let me know what the response was. Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, I felt a lightening in the energy of my body, almost some energy going up.
Yeah, okay. What happened, if anything, to your logic about being not so intelligent? Is all that was, or you could be smarter, or you're not smart, or something? Did the logic change at all?
Yeah, I feel much lighter about that, in a sense. You see, I can't really explain in a logical way what happened, but I do feel that something moved.
Yeah,
although
okay.
I'm not aware of what yet.
Okay, let me ask you this. Before we did the exercise,
Yes.
if you were to put a phrase about your own intelligence, what might it be? Like, I'm not very smart, or I could be smart. What would the words be?
I have learning disabilities.
I have learning. Do you know you have learning disabilities like dyslexia
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there a difference between a learning disability and intelligence?
It hampered to do certain things that other children could do.
Yes. However, my question was: is that a difference in your intelligence level? You may have difficulty doing things because of the dyslexia and other.
Yes.
Okay, but does that make you any less intelligent?
No, it doesn't. But I felt that it did at the time.
Of course. Say this for me. I'm not very smart.
I'm not very smart.
How true does that sound?
Not very much.
Oh, it doesn't sound very true.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Would the rest of you say this for me? I'm not very smart. I could be smarter. Intelligence is in my way. Okay. What's the laugh? Why did you laugh?
Because you're doing your comedy routine.
No, I'm doing your comedy routine. See, it is a comedy what we have on our mental walls, is it not? Now, we haven't even talked about the financial part yet, okay? But however, how many of you have the built-in idea somewhere written on your walls that in order to do well financially, you've got to be smart? Okay, and you've got to be, let's say it differently, smarter than you are. Okay? Now, our language is, we have to watch for our language. Smarter than you are is different than having more experience. Is it not? Okay. And a lot of times we will confuse, I don't have enough experience, with I'm not smart, okay? So what I was trying to address here a minute ago was our intelligence levels. A lot of us think we're just not very smart because all these comparative things that we did, you know, so. Mitch! Mitch, hi, okay, I was talking to you on the phone.
How are
How
you?
smart are you?
Really smart.
Yeah, you were before you came, right?
I was.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How smart are you, Sal?
Pretty smart.
You're pretty smart? Were you smart before you came in?
Yes.
All right. Very bright group here, okay. All right. Now, let me see. Say this affirmation for me. I'm so famous that people are lined up to see me. Okay. I'm so famous that people are lined up to see me. Okay, write down your tail enders on that. Or your comedies, if you will. Who has a comedy they would like to share? Please use these microphones. Go ahead, Mary. Mary's going to do one. Okay.
Not in this life.
Oh, not in this life. Well, what prevents you from being rich and famous, or famous, whatever that word was?
Famous or rich.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
It's just, and why is it not possible?
See, I don't know. I mean,
Well, if you did know, what would the answer be?
I come from too poor of beginnings, or
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to do it, or
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't know how to do it is one. That's probably
even
valid.
if I could do it, I wouldn't, because it would take away from my focus on helping my fellow man.
Yeah, of course. You cannot help your fellow man and be famous. You can't do that.
I know you're doing it, but I couldn't. I don't know how I do it.
Okay, but listen to the comedy. Listen to the comedy.
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. But the important thing is it's there, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, and it has an emotional pull. Logically, it's garbage, and you know
Yes,
that.
yes.
And see, there's a very famous person who died a while back, Mother Teresa, who helped the poor.
Absolutely.
You know, there are also the people that needed help. There are some people that are very rich. You know, like Wayne Dyer.
I know that, but not me, not in this life. Somebody else, maybe. somehow I can't do it.
Yeah, I know, somehow you can't do it. But one of the things you said, though, was because you came from poor beginnings. Okay? Now, is there writing on her walls? What might the writing on your, I mean, go back to mother, father, etc. I mean, and what might the writings on the wall? In our family, something like that?
And our family, we just got by.
Okay, and what would happen if you did better than just get by in your family?
Totally unexpected.
To make some more money would be totally unexpected. Okay, now you hear the comfort zone? The comfort zone is my poverty level here, or my low income level. You got it?
Yeah.
That's a comfort zone, and they won't get out of it. They may think I would love to have more money, but they have all these other little stoppers. Okay? I love it. What else does mommy and daddy say? And uncles and aunts and teachers, etc.
Somehow, it's always more important to be focused on helping other people than making money. Making money, if you're focused on making money, there's something, you're off in your values. You should be focused on helping people.
Of course. Yes. Yes. And that's very standard. In fact, I was talking to a couple of people on the phone, because I called a few people at random about that. And so there's a built-in thing. This is very important. This is very important. This is one of the biggest stoppers in this profession.
Yes.
Is what you just did. And so, say it again. If you help somebody else, no, if you try to make money, that takes away your focus from trying to help somebody else, and you are a helper. You're a person. It's the minister mentality.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I have to minister to my fellow man. If they don't have money to pay, I have to help them anyway.
Yes.
I can't have money be my goal.
Uh-huh.
That's not okay to have money be my goal. My goal has to be helping my fellow man. I mean, I'm
Okay.
stuck right there.
Well, we're not evaluating anything. What I'm hearing is, if I'm helping my fellow man, I can't also do money, and therein lies the limit. I cannot be abundantly wealthy if I'm going to help my.
If my focus is helping my fellow man, then if I'm focused, if I put attention on making money, then it takes away from what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping my fellow man.
Okay, correct. And what would happen if somebody who was helping their fellow man made a lot of money?
They'd have to come from a different planet than where I'm from. Okay.
That doesn't work on Planet Mary, right?
No. Planet Mary is stuck on helping her fellow man only.
Mm-hmm. Do personal performance or personal improvement, people who teach personal improvement through books and workshops, etc., are they helping fellow man?
Yes, I know, but that's them. Okay, I'm talking about me.
No, I know that.
I know they do it, but I don't know how to do it.
Okay. Everybody right with me, okay? Even though I have this comedy on my walls, don't sit down, Mary. That says somehow or other, there is a wall between helping my fellow man and earning money. I'm just somehow or other not allowed to put that together. I don't know why I'm not allowed. But it's written here on my walls. It's one of the commandments. Thou shalt not. By the way, it's perfectly okay for people in other professions to charge money for what they do. And maybe even charge a lot. And it's also perfectly okay for me to do therapy with rich people. Except they don't really have problems. Only poor people have problems. And people who can't pay have problems. And of course, those are the ones I must focus on. I couldn't possibly do some work with rich people who are more than happy to pay me, and then have a lot of financial comfort to allow me to do all kinds of work for free for those who can't pay. To do group sessions. And I can do more in a group with 20 people today with these tapping techniques than I can do in months of work one-on-one. I could have free clinics for those who can't pay and help my fellow man in the way the writings on my wall say I'm supposed to. And I could if I wanted to, I could if I wanted to, spend time only with that segment of our population who needs the help so badly and can't pay. Of course, I'd have to ignore the rich ones. They'd have to do without. And that would all be my fault as well. Shame on me. I'm ignoring the rich. Those greedy people who step on everybody else to make all their money and have no problems whatsoever. The fact that they step on all those people to make all that money, they should have their guilt. Damned if I'll help them. Did that help, my dear?
Yes.
Go ahead. We have another comedy coming up.
Gary, I'm Quila.
Hi, Quila.
Hi. Good to finally meet you.
Yes.
When famous came into my mind, I pictured movie stars and famous personalities who have such screwed up lives.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
until
The
you
rich-
mentioned Wayne Dyer and Mother Teresa, those people hadn't entered my mind as famous.
Ah, okay.
So I had this warped view of what famous could be.
Yes, it's written on your walls. Famous
Yeah.
means, okay, and other people will look at their walls and they have a different version of it, so they will respond differently than you did.
Right, and I also thought then as an afterthought, well, gee, I could be famous in my own area.
Yeah, see, some people fame is world fame.
Yeah.
And to other people, fame could be
Famous
in
in
your
my own
neighborhood.
area was
Sure.
semi-comfortable.
Yeah.
But famous in the Hollywood fashion or the, major entertainer fashion, that's not comfortable to me at all. I don't want it.
And by the way, you don't need to want it. All we're looking for here is writing on your walls. The comedies on your wall is all we're looking for. Okay, good. Go ahead. Do you have one?
Well, I discovered a bee in my nose.
Maybe have a hand
actually-
for his bee.
Yeah. And what happened was it would remind me of my childhood. I was actually trying to pick up a bee off the grass, and I took a little jar with a little tiny opening for it, and I was trying to push it in, and it went up and bit me in the nose. And my parents said that's a really dumb thing to do. So it was.
Oh, it's a
coming up.
really dumb thing to do. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So
Yes.
the bee makes a lot of sense to me, and it's like
Well,
when
in
I go
a
to do
different
something
way.
smart, hey, I'm the one who tried to put the bee in the bottle and bit me in the nose. So I got bzzz going on all the time.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a little different than I put. But I understand it. It's a little different than I put it forward.
Right. Right. But I'm a smart guy with a bee in his nose.
Yes. Yes. Indeed. Indeed. And the bee itself triggers. I'm dumb.
Right.
To use your terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would people want to come to me and pay a lot of money to get a guy that lets a bee sting him in the nose?
Yeah. Why would they do
What a
that?
joke. That's
Yeah.
a joke.
Of course. Now that's an individual tapping thing for you.
Okay.
Okay. Because your father said, was your father?
Yeah.
Said, what a dumb thing to do, or whatever he said, okay? So that's there. It's not logical. You know it's not logical. Everyone in the room knows it's not logical. It's a comedy. But nonetheless, it's there, and it's going to stop you in some level. So you need to go back to that specific issue and tap on that until that has no more charge on it. And then go to other ones, et cetera. Because we are all, to me, there may be some difference in our true intelligence levels. And there may be, somebody may be from the floor to, this intelligent, by whatever measure we'd have, and somebody's only this intelligent instead. That could be. I'm not saying it isn't, but we're only using this much of it. Okay, so what difference does it make? All this down here is the bees in our nose.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, I had a little different tail ender.
A different tail ender. Okay.
When I thought about being so famous that people were lined up to see me, I thought, I don't want people lined up to see me. I want like quiet time and privacy, and what a hassle it would be to have people lined up to see me.
Okay, and it's possible. See, the people lined up to see me is written on my walls. This is that statement came from my wall. People lined up to see me is evidence on my walls of success. I'm so famous, people are lined up to see me. Okay, but in your walls, it doesn't say that. Okay, so what would success be on your walls?
everything I need comes to me easily.
Okay, I earn easily and consistently whatever amount of money per year.
Right.
Okay.
And clients who really need my services find me easily.
Oh, and they find you.
Effortlessly.
Okay.
That would be my
Well, that may be the case. I would suggest to you, though, if you, what was it, Tony Robbins? It's not quite on point, but he would say people will. He was talking about people that would sit and meditate, like you're trying to have the world come to you, you know, and people find you, etc. And he says they would meditate, etc. And sooner or later, somebody comes along and takes their furniture. It may well be that you need to blend some of that with maybe a little,
ridiculing my
maybe a
idea.
little marketing, okay? Because it's just to take it is exaggerated area to just sit there and say, "Come to me, world." It doesn't really work.
Well, I think what I'm looking for is easily, not effortlessly, but
Mhm.
what is easy for me.
Yeah.
And certain kinds of marketing aren't easy. They're like
What kind of
they grew
marketing-
under my fingernails, and I
What kind of marketing isn't easy?
print ads and dealing with the media. That kind
Okay.
of thing isn't easy for me.
It's not easy because you don't know how to write them?
I don't know. It gives me a stomachache to think about it. So
Oh, okay. Why does it give you a stomachache? Do you have a stomachache now?
yeah.
Oh, you do? On a scale of 0 to 10? What is it?
That's about a 6.
It's about a 6. Oh, my. What happened? Let me ask you this. Finish this sentence for me. If I were to really write a good ad, the problem with that would be?
There wouldn't be a problem if I could really write a good ad.
Oh, okay. The problem with attempting to write a good ad is?
I don't know how to do it. I think I'll do it wrong. I feel like I'm not from this planet. I don't understand what people on this planet like or want.
Okay. And built into that may be something like, I should stay where I belong.
Maybe. Or
But-
I don't belong here.
I don't belong here. Okay. Is that because you don't have experience?
Well, I don't have much experience.
Okay.
But I don't think that's why I'm...
Okay. I'm gonna do a group thing. Thank you for that. Addressing that a little bit. It may or may not be exactly for you, but if you will tap along with it, your subconscious will probably bring some stuff up. Okay? Even though I don't have experience, in the wonderful world of marketing, and even though I haven't spent years and years on Madison Avenue, I somehow think there's some real magic, if not tricksterism, in doing a proper ad, and dealing with the media, and letting the world know who I am. I've got to use very clever phraseology. I have to have expensive brochures, you know, with lots of white space, and I have to pay people thousands of dollars, you know, to make this up for me. And if it doesn't work, I pay them anyway. And they have no problem with taking my money, even though I have problems charging money sometimes. The rest of the world can get paid, and I can't. We're a little off subject there. Okay. Even though I don't have this experience. And as part of the writing on my walls, is part of my comfort zone. Because if I have to go off and do something new, like write a clever ad all by myself, that's out of my comfort zone. I might actually spend money for that ad, and time, and write the whole ad, and pay for it to put in the paper, and it may die. And I don't know if I can take the rejection. I'd have to do it again. Now, I'm used to doing things over and over again in other parts of my life, until I refine things, and I get better and better at them. That's how I learned to speak English. That's how I learned to ride a bicycle. That's how I learned to ride a car. But I shouldn't do it in advertising. I should never stub my toe. I have to do it right the first time, or else. And you'll have to fill in the or else with whatever's written on your walls. There's some penalty, you know, for being outside my comfort zone. So you don't want to be in there. You want to be outside your comfort zone, you know. Ooh, you want to come back in here, you know. I am now told it's time for a break. All right. Now, during the break, inevitably what happens is people come up and they tell me about their comedies. And what I'd like to do is rather than have you come to the break and tell me your comedies, and so we can talk about your comedies here, I'd rather have them behind the microphone so everybody can benefit from them. So who has a comedy they would like to, I want to spend a fair amount of time on this, by the way, because this is very important. All the techniques and the how-tos and everything else aren't very useful if you have a bunch of comedies that are stopping you, okay? Eva, right? Hi. I recognize your face from your brochure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hi.
Julie, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You remembered me.
Of course. The Spider Lady.
Yes.
We have a film with tarantulas crawling all over you.
Yeah. One of my biggest tail enders, and I've been aware of it for quite some time, is that I know you're promoting the EFT and you're giving it away for free and all this stuff, and a lot of people have been. I mean, it seems like every time I go on the web, there's a new acronym for some new energy modality that's just some variation of EFT or brain gym or other things that are already out there.
Sure.
And I'm thinking it would be fun to be famous, but it's not my work. So I have it seems like I'd have to write some original book or make it seem original or come up with, the JEM modality or that would it just feels silly to me. I mean,
Okay.
I feel real comfortable with EFT and TAT and brain gym. I love it. I don't feel the need to invent something new. But
Well,
how
apparently-
can I be famous for that? I didn't make those things up.
Oh. Well, that's an interesting comedy. I mean, you can't get the phrase right. I can't be famous unless I have authored something original.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, you can't be famous.
Or I don't deserve to be famous if it's not.
What's a different issue?
Okay.
Well, go ahead. Finish the sentence.
Well, it just seems like you have to make some original contribution instead of just working successfully with what somebody else came up with, which I'm kind of happy to do. I enjoy working with people, but I didn't come up with any of the modalities myself.
Well, I tell you something interesting, is there are lots of people, in fact, I encourage it, people who will take EFT and they'll do some little changey thing on it. They'll blend it with something they do and use some other point or rearrange the points or do a different setup phrase or don't use the setup phrase at all or something like that. And they'll call it something different. And that's fine with me. However, what I'm hearing from you is that isn't ethical within Julie.
There's some part of me that doesn't find that totally ethical if people present it as a totally new thing. And I'm saying, but 7 years ago I studied, meridian therapy or this, that, or it seems like the same stuff.
You ever heard of Elvis Presley?
Yes.
Can you name me one song that he ever sang that he wrote himself?
Probably not.
I can't either, and I happen to be a fan. Okay, okay. We will do what we can do. I have no idea what we're going to do here. Okay, we're just going to start rolling. All right. Even though I think I have to author something.
I think I have to author something.
To somehow be famous.
To somehow be famous.
And make my mark in this world.
And make my mark in this world.
I have no idea where that came from.
I have no idea where that came from.
It may be an ethical thing. It's written here on my walls, thou shalt not.
It's written here on my walls, thou shalt not.
It's the 11th commandment.
It's the 11th commandment.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
And whoever it was that wrote that on my walls.
And whoever it was that wrote that on my walls.
Because they need help.
Because they need help.
I don't know why I equate fame with uniqueness.
I don't know why I equate fame with uniqueness.
Because I can name all kinds of people.
Because I can name all kinds of people.
Whose only uniqueness is their personality. We talked about Elvis Presley. Willie Nelson. Is Willie Nelson famous, by the way?
Yes.
Did he ever author anything? What did he author? What? Oh, he did all of his songs? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Elvis did his songs too. Frank Sinatra is just a singer, yes. Or was. That's right. I'm trying to get to that. Give me the words again, would you, Julie?
Yeah, I think I just got a couple of things.
All right, I want you to stop. Thank you. I want you to say what they are, but I want to mention something before that. Some of the people that came up here at the break were saying to me, You know, we were tapping, and all of a sudden I realized, and we were tapping, by the way, on issues that they didn't think were necessarily the target for them, but we were tapping on, then all of a sudden they started realizing their own comedies. And I have a feeling that's what you're doing here. We've done some tapping here, even though it may not have been the bullseye. You're now coming up with a
I've got
realization?
some plagiarism issues.
Some plagiarism issues, okay.
Second grade, Jamie Chase stole my poem
Yes.
and and entered it into a contest. No, I got first place, but she got second place.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought of that.
And Jamie who?
Poor Jamie. Jamie Chase.
Jamie Chase. Okay.
And I resented it for years, and actually I'm still feeling it now. I'm still...
Okay, but see, here's the power. And see, we're not going to be able to cover every comedy everybody has here in this room. I'm going to spend some more time on it because it's very important to get those comedies at least something done with them. But one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to have these other little things. The Jamie Chases, your own personal Jamie Chases, are going to show up if we do enough of this tapping, and you're going to need to do that on your own. But you must get rid of these little subtle stoppers. You have to, or you're not going to go anyplace with them. But anyway. Even though Jamie Chase, by the way, everybody else tapped too. Even though you don't even know Jamie Chase, you have Jamie Chases in your history, okay? And something will come up, all right? Even though I'm really pissed at Jamie Chase, and he had no reason plagiarizing things from me, or things from me. I deeply and completely accept myself. But not that damn Jamie. I hope he has guilt forever. Because he has screwed up my life to this point. Not only did he steal my poem, he has stolen my fame. He lodged himself in my belief system. Anything that even remotely like plagiarism is indeed plagiarism with a diamond-studded frame around it. So it says here on Julie's wall. And my wall. Okay. Anything else come up, Julie?
Well, before this on the break, I'd been talking with Brad that I was blaming it all on Tony Robbins because, of course, well, I think that led me back to Jamie, actually, because when I was doing a lot of NLP, taking classes and reading all the NLP books about, I don't know, 7 to 10 years ago. And then right after I read one of Bandler's books or Grinder's, I read Tony Robbins, and he lifted whole things, chunks, right out of the book. And I was like, wow, plagiarism. And he kind of mentioned NLP and those people, but really that should have been you should change the wording of things. And he was so famous with his horsey face, like just looking at him bothers me. And I have this, and when I did my first term paper in high school, you had to do that to graduate, whole chapter was lifted in my primary source from another one. So I have a chip on my shoulder about plagiarism. I just don't like it. It makes me mad.
I suggest to you, Julie, you also have a misconception about it. A legal misconception.
I probably do.
Most of you have legal misconceptions about it from my conversations with people. And this is what it is. There's a body of law called copyright law. And if something is copyrighted, you're not supposed to use it. But what that means is you're not supposed to use the actual words, the expression of the idea. For example, there's an idea called EFT. Okay? And my videotapes and my manual, etc., are copyrighted, which means it is illegal to copy those videotapes, the audio tapes as well, and the manual unless I give you permission. It's illegal to copy my expression of the idea. That's how copyright law works. The idea itself is all yours. I mean, you bought the tapes, you've been on the website, you've done whatever you need to do. The idea belongs to you. It belongs to you. Do you hear that? Say it. It belongs to me.
It belongs to me.
Okay. I bought it. Gary can't keep it. Neither can anybody else. And if I want to use it, it ain't plagiarism. If you copy my tapes and go sell them, that's a copyright law violation. But to use the idea of it, and even to rearrange my words, etc. In fact, you can even take my exact words and use them so long, this is copyright law, so long as you don't, take huge chunks out, unless I give you my permission. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you can take my entire manual and pass it out to the world. It's already for free on the website, okay? Does that help you at all? Because legally what you're talking about is not plagiarism, and what Tony Robbins did is not plagiarism.
Yeah, I guess the wording wasn't changed enough to my satisfaction.
Well, yeah, to your satisfaction, okay? Tap with me, please. Even though I have these rules, and they're written here on my walls, I deeply completely accept myself. I have all kinds of rules. I have rules about plagiarism and what it means. I have rules about relationships and what those mean. I have rules about right and wrong. Everybody else has their own rules. That is their truth. I have my own truth. Mine is different from theirs. I'm stuck with mine, unless I tap it away or see some way out of it. And as long as I think using material that I've paid for and learned is plagiarism, then I should never do anything in this whole entire world. Because virtually everything that I've learned has been from somebody else. It's been from my mother, my father, my teachers. If I use algebra, I don't think I'm plagiarizing. I learned it someplace. Perfectly okay to use it. If I want to use any of Freud's work, I'm perfectly free to use that. It's been written a long time ago. Okay. If I want to read something about Wayne Dyer or Deepak Chopra or anybody else and use those ideas in my therapy sessions, I shouldn't have guilt for that. I can't have fame, of course, because somebody else thought of those things. But of course, what I don't realize is what they thought of was learned from somebody else. And what EFT is was learned, the basics were learned for somebody else. How we doing, Julie?
Better, I guess. I just wouldn't be, I still am not going to slap my name on, like I wouldn't say algebra came from Julie. You know what I mean?
No.
Even if I use it and...
Do you have a need to do that?
No, I don't like algebra.
Oh, okay.
I've already tapped on it, so I'm...
Well, let me ask your belief system, your comedy system.
Yeah.
Okay. And mind you, this is not criticism. This is stuff that's on our walls, and it's a big comedy. Okay. What is written on your comedy walls that says, in order for you to be famous, you have to have your name on something? Why can't you just be damn good at something?
I'd like that better. That'd be easier for me to... Well,
Oh.
I mean, if you're famous, people are going to know your name.
Yeah. Okay.
But then you're known for something.
Okay.
So I still feel like I should be known for something original.
Well, you know who
You're known for EFT. What?
But is that original? No. It's not even close to original. Is it?
It feels like it is when I'm watching your tapes. It's like
Yeah,
Gary
of course.
the Guru.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't sung my song yet. So you tap with me, okay? Whoops. How am I going to do this? There we go. There we go. Whoops. This way. Even though I have this rule that says I have to have my name on something to be famous. That's a real limit. That means I can only be famous for something that I happen to do that's unique, which really can't be unique at all. There is nothing unique. There are things that seem unique. And I may be disillusioned by what seems unique. But everything that I've learned has come from other places. I can't think of a single exception. Can you, by the way? Who can think of a single exception of what you've learned that didn't come from some other place? Okay, since I can't think of anything else from where these ideas came from, if I use Julie's rules, I can't be famous. So this whole room, because of Julie, cannot be famous.
I'm famous now. I have rules. Problem's all set, Gary. Thanks. And I can pretend they're original rules. I made them up.
You did, indeed. Just to expand on that, rules are another word for things written on our walls. We have tons of rules that we think are the truth, okay? And they are comedies, all of them. So hopefully we'll loosen some things up. We're going to keep going here, by the way. We'll just keep going and going and going because while we may not be hitting your stuff, what you may want to do is start writing down the ahas that come along that may not be right on the target places. I hope how many of you have found an aha or two that may not have been on? See, look at that. Most of the room has found an aha or two. Write those things down because those are tappable issues for you at another time. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I had an issue. I was going to wait till you're through with this one.
I'm through with this one.
Okay. One of the issues that I have, and I've run into this with a lot of people that are perfectionists, is...
There's no perfectionists here.
Yeah, I know that. I know
they
that.
don't have rules. They don't have rules anymore. How can they be perfectionists?
Well, I've been working on that for quite a while, and one of the things I've noticed is I'm so interested in so many things. I love art and science, and I get sidetracked, have a difficult time focusing. I'll be reading on something, and then, boy, that sounds interesting. And then I put down the book a little bit to go look up that term, and the next thing you know, I'm on another boat here with this other term and getting involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I lose focus, and I don't get to where I have planned to go in an efficient length of time.
I don't know what happens with your own thought process.
I don't either. But
I know. If we knew, we wouldn't have a workshop, would we?
That's right.
In my experience, though, and tell me if this seems to hit right, okay? Sometimes we'll have a goal. It says, I want to do so-and-so. And that goal really isn't a true goal. That is what I call a want to, a true want to. They are oftentimes, they are shoulds. The classic example is the child who grows up where both parents are doctors, for example, and therefore the child should be a doctor. And so that goal for that child is a have to. It's a should put on them rather than something they would really want to do themselves, which may be to grow flowers someplace, okay? And so if we have a goal that is not a want to and is indeed a should, then we're going to have the kind of things you're experiencing. I may not be on the bullseye, on the target for you, I don't know, but I want to point this out. If the goal isn't a true goal, we are likely to get sidetracked. We are likely not to be able to focus because that goal really isn't a true goal. It's a should. It's something that's imposed upon us, something we really ought to be able to do, but we've never really gotten inside ourselves and got to our true goal, the one that really juices us, the one that really gets us going. Okay. Now, how did I do there? Is that on target at all?
Yeah, I think you had a point there, because that is an issue, goal setting, with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I'm interested in so many things that
no one of them is a focused goal.
Exactly.
Okay.
But they're so exciting. It's like, wow, that's incredible how, this thing impacts that. And so then I get, I get sidetracked. I will eventually get back to it because I've been very successful at several careers. But when I go to do something else that I really want to work on, sometimes it takes me so long.
Because you get sidetracked.
That's correct.
On all the other exciting things.
Right, and it is a goal issue. I need to set that in my sights and keep focused on that goal and do the things that support that goal, and I don't do that.
I want to do a little tapping, just general on goals, which may or may not be exactly what you talked about, but the idea of goals is an important one, I think, to address.
Some of it, I think, is fear too, that I won't have enough information to be able to do the way I perceive that I think it should be done.
Oh, okay.
So I know.
And you started this whole thing off with perfection, a comment on perfection, didn't you?
Yeah, but I mean, I've always known there's fear behind that.
Yeah, well, of course there's fear. There's always fear behind perfection. There's fear behind almost anything we do.
Right.
It's always the fear of something,
Fear that you're not going to get there
of course.
Lose something.
Of course. All right. See, it may well be that your experience with being distracted in all these places is a reflection of the fact that you need to be perfect, and therefore you've got to get all this other information. It's all got to be lined up just right in the right boxes, et cetera, before you can do your goal, whatever that is.
Right.
Yes, of course I'm right.
We're getting closer now, yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. With me, please.
You're welcome.
Even though I need to be perfect.
Even though I need to be perfect.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept.
I don't even know what perfect is.
I don't even know what perfect
But I have to be perfect anyway.
But I have to be perfect.
And I don't even know why I have to be perfect.
I don't even know
But
why
I have to do it just right, whatever that is.
I have to do it just right, whatever that is.
I have to have everything lined up just so.
I have to have everything lined up just so.
Otherwise, I don't want to put myself out there.
Otherwise, I don't want to put myself out there.
I might make a mistake.
I might make a mistake.
And I will then seem imperfect.
And then I will seem imperfect.
I want to appear to the world as the most perfect person ever.
I want to appear to the world as the most perfect person ever.
Which will probably be my biggest problem.
Which will probably be my biggest problem.
Because absolutely nobody
Because absolutely nobody
likes a perfect person.
likes a perfect person.
What people really like in other people
What people really like in other people
is their ability to admit their own imperfections.
is their ability to admit their own imperfections.
And that's what I need to do. I need to be more human.
I need to be more human.
Because I am perfect.
Because I am perfect.
Because I'm imperfect.
Because I'm imperfect.
And as long as I try to be perfect,
And as long as I try to be perfect,
I will cause myself more problems
I will cause myself more
than all
problems
my clients can create
than all my clients can create.
put together.
Put together.
Perfectionism
Perfectionism
is a huge should.
is a huge should.
And I spend much of my life
And I spend much of my life
shooting on myself.
shooting myself.
Shooting. Got to be perfect.
Gotta be perfect.
Got to be perfect.
Gotta be perfect. Gotta be
I really need the, even though I need the permission
Even though I need the permission
to be imperfect
to be imperfect
and haven't given it to myself yet,
and haven't given it to myself,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply completely accept myself.
Imperfections. Need to be imperfect. Need to display imperfections.
Need to display
It's from imperfection that I learn how to be perfect.
It's from imperfection that I learn how to be perfect.
And I'll never get to be perfect.
And I'll never get to be perfect.
I can just recognize more imperfections,
Just recognize more imperfections.
which, by the way,
Which, by the way,
makes me even more perfect because I recognize who I really am. Okay. How'd we do, Ron?
pretty good. I feel a sense of calmness.
Well, we do that with tapping anyway. But
Right.
yeah,
right.
okay, sure.
And one thing that we've pointed out many times is that even though we're cognitively aware of these things, because it's really exciting to me when I do make a mistake, and it's like, wow, I learned something.
Mm-hmm.
So
What would be wrong, by the way, with setting up a goal and before you had everything just perfect and learned all these different things that you just went out and gave a talk or wrote a book or whatever your goal is and just do it anyway and learn by the process?
I'm starting to do that right now.
Oh, okay.
And it feels good being spontaneous and impromptu.
Mm-hmm. By the way, is what I did when I first started being a speaker, if you will. I hadn't a clue how to speak. I understood when you speak, you're supposed to have really good posture. I've never have bought that one. You're never supposed to put your hands in your pockets and wave your microphone or anything like that. Okay. But after a while, you do these things and you learn. This is the whole thing about. Remember, I said there were 3 levels, and the third level is experience and stubbing your toe. See, that's how you learn. See, if you don't go out and stub your toe, we stay in the laboratory crucible trying to learn things to make it just perfect so we can go out there and do our things and never stub our toe. Many therapists here have, in fact, I want to ask you, how many of you have some version of this? I like EFT, or I like the tapping procedures. I think they work, but I'm really hesitant to show them to a client because I haven't perfected them yet. How many have something like that? Oh, a few of you. Well, I would, if I had a different group, I would expect many more hands. You guys are seasoned here. If I had newbies, fairly newbies, I would have a much higher percentage. Okay.